All right, let's go live. We are live. Everything is all looking good in the world today. It is such a lovely, lovely day here on the wet coast of Scandinavia.
Are we really call it the wet coast right now? It hasn't rained for a while.
Well, yeah, but it's still the wet coast.
Well, I guess it rains nonstop in the winter.
Oh, it does in the winter. Winter rains nonstop. We have had approximately 6 weeks of no rain.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, we usually get some rain in July, but it looks like unless it rains in the next 2 days, we're going to have a July without rain.
When was the last time that happened?
7 years ago. 8 years ago. Happened 8 years ago. But starting from 7 years ago till this summer was the first summer in 7 years that it didn't rain on my birthday.
And, well, that's a bonus.
And of course, every other year previous to that, when was that? Let's see, 7 years ago is what, 2014, 2013?
I don't know.
2012. Ever since 2012. 2012 was the last year, because 2012, I believe, is when I turned 50. Oh, we got a phone call. We'll have to, I can take that. Hello. Oh, good. You can't stop by for the next hour. I'm on a live podcast. You're live right now, by the way. All right. Bye. There. Takes care of that. It's going to be dropping me off some dog treats. It's like, no, next hour, you can't. I'm on a live show right now, folks. This is live. I know there's somebody out there listening to us, and this is a pre-stream for those that tune in. Pre-stream is random miscellaneous stuff. And only those of you who bother to show up for YouTube get to hear all this crazy, insane things. Anyway, back to the rain. Yes, it rained. It's like my 50th birthday party. You'd think the world was crying that I turned 50.
Yeah, this year was the first year that my younger daughter's birthday, which is in the beginning of June. It's the first year in ages that it wasn't cloudy and cold.
Yeah. Well, I bet if you track it back, it's probably been 7 years or so.
Probably. I don't know. When kids are getting towards their teen years, it all kind of just merges into one experience.
I know, but it's just that we've had, our weather has been odd for the last 7 years, and then it's finally broken, and maybe the pattern's changing again, but the pattern is changing, and you want to hear all about the pattern changing? Come tune into the Rogues Tavern, where we talk about the pattern changes.
Yeah.
Not here. Not here. We just randomly discuss the weather. It has been nice though, having clear sunny days.
Yes. It's definitely. Actually, I've managed to get a tan for the first time in a few years. Partially because I'm not in a classroom this year, but it's kind of nice having a tan again. I felt kind of ghostly.
Yeah, well, need the vitamin D.
Oh, definitely.
Lots of vitamin D.
I don't think I've seen anyone who hasn't gotten a tan this year. It's a good thing. Everybody needs that extra vitamin D this year, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's good for your health.
Mm-hmm.
Combine it with some vitamin C, and you've got a massive protector for stuff on your body.
So here's a random question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if vitamin D kind of builds up in your system and keeps you going through the darker months, or is it something that you have to keep getting in order and have it replenished regularly?
Yeah, it's got to be replenished regularly. It's the one thing your body, it's the one vitamin that your body actually produces, but only if it gets sunshine.
Huh. So if you were like to get one of those lizard heat lamps and hang out under it, think that would help?
Only if it's the right UV radiation from like the sun. Those, I forget the name of the lights. They do have UV lights you can buy for people who suffer from the SAD syndrome, the seasonal affective disorder, which is because they're not getting enough sunshine to produce the vitamin D that their body needs. And basically, what you do is the moment it's sunny in the winter, you go outside, because one of the beautiful things about being melanin challenged is that the lighter your skin is, the faster your body produces vitamin D in the winter.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Well, that's the reason. The reason being, the reason humans have evolved is because of where they evolved at. Because in the wintertime in the northern hemisphere, it's not a lot of sunshine, so they needed light skin to be able to develop vitamin D faster. And you don't have to expose your whole body. You just got to expose bits of it, your hands, your face. You don't have to strip down and walk around trying to get a tan in the winter. You just got to expose parts of your body to the sun.
It's kind of cool. My partner got me to start watching Vikings. It's a lot more addictive than I ever thought it would be. My goodness. And I've been finding it interesting, the amount of truth for the historical things that they've been putting into the show. That I've been finding really interesting.
Well, it's good that they have some historical stuff to it. Most of those shows are only pay homage to history.
Yeah, but no, they actually put in a whole bunch of like historical facts into the show on how they live, how they prep, how they do things, traditions and ceremonies. It's really cool. I was curious, so I decided to go look it up, and it turns out that a lot of the information that you're getting from watching this is actually true, which I think it's really cool. Not many shows do that.
Yeah, that's always useful when they do that. Make it at least semi-true.
I mean, obviously the storyline is totally fictional, but the way they live is actually fairly accurate. Not totally, of course, but fairly accurate, which is really cool.
Well, that's all there is to it. Let's see, what else do we got going on here? We've got a good show for folks that are just tuning in. Make sure you hang around through the show and enjoy it, because, it is a show. It's entertainment. Sometimes it's got useful information that might help you along the lines of whatever you're developing. Let's see where we got. We're running down to getting closer to music time and carrying us to the live show. As I said, this is just a pre-stream, folks. Nothing else, just a pre-stream.
Where we ramble nonsensical things.
Yep. Such as, this is the pre-stream. Ramble, pre-stream.
Do you have any shows that you're kind of working your way through right now?
Do I have any shows I'm working with?
Working your way through, like I'm working my way through Vikings.
I don't watch television stuff anymore.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
I avoid that because it sucks up too much of my time, and it's not something I want to do.
Okay, well, that I understand.
I've even managed to cut back 95% of my YouTube video watching. All I'm really doing now is listening to books and researching and reading, and it is music time. Let's go.
Claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, Lord, moving right along. Went missing Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the chigger, the scene who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine?
Most definitely mine.
Claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads, Joker's doing fine. Just sitting doing time.
There we have it. So it is time. Off we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
Avoiding the plugin sting. It's episode 522, and we have plugins for image comparison, critters, rolling the dice, avatars, replacing media, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we are here for a great show for you. Just keep in mind, the magic number is still 66, July 1st, the magic day. Trust the plan. Before I get too far down the line here, though, remember, this is a value for value show, and we look forward to everyone giving some value back, and we'll talk about that later on in the show. Also, you want to hang around to the end of the show for the Q&A segment with Amber. It's rather entertaining, and we do split it up so that those of you listening here on the podcast itself, you only get half of it. Got to go back to the YouTube channel to get the other half, and sometimes the other half continues for quite a while as we get into some discussions and even revamp the earlier questions. You know, with all of that done, it is time for me to...
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
This is number 30 of 52 episodes for 2021. It's episode 522, and it's time to get yourself outside and enjoy the last of that nice weather before it all runs away on us. If you have the time, get yourself out for a walk, or maybe take the kids out swimming in a lake or river. There's one nearby. Or maybe you can get out camping for a few days. If you don't have time for the camping or the swimming, just find some time to chill out to some good music or a good book. Open a window and let in some fresh summer air. I feel pretty certain that it'll help. Just be sure to turn off all that social media news stuff for your chill out time. After all, if you watch too much of that stuff, you might go blind. Rinse and repeat as often as needed.
Absolutely.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
And Amber.
So this one was sent in by a listener. It is Praying Mantis Threat Actor targeting Windows internet-facing servers with malware. So My personal opinion is that this seems to be something that was made by someone who helped create Windows, because what it does is it gets into the memory, leaving little to no trace, and it uses the internet-facing servers to get into the networks. I could see this one being a huge issue, so be aware that this is going on.
Now, why would you want to be using a Windows server anyway? They're such a pain in the ass to manage and maintain, but if you've got one, pay attention to this one.
Yeah. The next one I have is WooCommerce has sent out version 5.5.2. This update is not only fixing the issues that have been brought up by the security, but it's also fixing bugs. But mainly it's about fixing the issues that were brought up by the forced security update they had not too long ago. So if you're having issues with your WooCommerce, you might want to look at this.
You gotta love it. Let's fix the security hole and let's create a performance issue at the same time. Why not?
Well, they fixed the hole.
Well, they fixed the hole, then created a performance issue. Although probably maybe that hole was what gave it such good performance.
Huh.
That's
an interesting
There's
thought.
that possibility too. Is the code that was written that was a security flaw was code that was gave it really, really better performance, and it turns out the performance was a security flaw, and you got to fix the security flaw. You caused performance issues. Now we got to find a new way to get the same performance.
Yeah, that could be an issue.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Code is code is code, man. It's horrible stuff.
The next one I have is Tips Tuesday with Mayanna. This week, she's covering the issues found so far on WordPress 5.8, some new tutorials for testing and fixing your schema markup, and a new way to get your videos into Google search, and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, she also had a nice. Was it in this post here? Yeah, here it is. She did a peek into the future here. I found this rather interesting in this article, in that she's predicting where the internet is going, and that we're going to be heading into the promise of the early 2000s of the virtual stores that people can wander in, and they can rearrange everything on the on your front page to their liking, where it'd be different than other people, along with a whole lot of other predictive changes. And and she does do a little bit of bragging in here, and that, for the last 7 years, she's been predicting a lot of things and hasn't really been wrong. When she's right there, she hasn't really been wrong. But she is pretty good at seeing what's coming down the pike. But of course, her whole life is all about this stuff. So you might want to read this one over, and read this predictive segment in particular over, because it is rather interesting as to what might be coming down the line and how WordPress is going to be changing to make those things happen.
I must have missed that when I was glancing over it to read it.
Yeah.
That seems really interesting. Read.
All right. So
Next one up is a reason to update all Mac products right now. So I don't use anything Mac, but anyone else who has a Mac of anything, iPhones, iPads, anything, you'll want to look at updating it right now, because it has some security patches that were found and they were recently fixed. So, and what Apple's saying is that the vulnerabilities may have already been actively exploited. So if you can, do an update.
Yep. All right. Next
up. Oh. Do you want to do this one?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Component shortages are not going to be going away anytime soon, is what Microsoft is saying. This has been an issue for a while, and anyone who builds computers is already on a waiting list, and the parts just aren't coming in. So it seems that the supply chain has not been able to recover, and Microsoft doesn't think it will be for a while yet.
Well, it's going to take a while to fix the broken supply chain.
Yeah, I was hoping that they would have fixed it at least a little by now, but a lot of the parts that were supposed to be in by now still haven't come in.
Nope.
So we're going to be dealing with the shortage for a while to come. And the last two I have on here are both kind of interesting. This one is how to read like a vampire and improve your skills as a WordPress professional. It caught me with the read like a vampire. Really what he's meaning is how you can still get through all the stuff that you need to read for your work, but also still have time to read for yourself. It's an interesting article. He goes through and he lists off the things that he's currently reading, and a few of them could be very useful. So it's an interesting article that I recommend people at least have a glance at.
Yep, it looks like it could be quite interesting.
And the last one is Alexa is becoming anti-Windows.
Oh,
I found this kind of entertaining.
Imagine that. Alexa doesn't like Windows.
So this one's just kind of an entertaining one, but also it is interesting the way that she is becoming not or anti-Windows. So for the extras today, there's a bunch of things in the extras, like another thing from Mayana on how your theme could be having an impact on your SEO for people who that is very important for. A bit about the booming spyware industry. And average time to fix high severity vulnerabilities goes from 197 days to 246 days. So there's a lot of things in the extras here. So it's good to give it a look through. You can check that out on show notes.
Absolutely. Go check out all the additionals. There's a lot of news and information in the show notes every week, folks. A lot of it can help you out. All right. Well, let's wander on into our...
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A to Z.
Absolutely. This is a segment of the show where we like to recognize those that donate their time, talent, and treasure to help the show out. And we greatly appreciate those that do donate to the show. And this week, we like to start out first by acknowledging our artists who bring us new artwork every week for the show. And it's kind of nice to have different artwork every week and sort of change things up and give it a new look. This week, art comes from Greg's Graphics. Whoops, wrong image. It jumped to the wrong, there we go. Greg's Graphics, and he created us a really cool jellyfish image. Played around with our logos a bit. I really like the little purple in the WP logo. It kind of gives it a neat little glow and a look like an underwater flow. So I really like this piece of art. It's kind of cool, and it goes along great with this week's show title. So thanks a lot, Greg. We greatly appreciate it. And hey, artists out there, we're going to need more artwork soon. We're down to one more piece of art for next week's show. So come on, artists, kick up some art. We greatly appreciate you for it. We really do. Give you all kinds of credits. Say thank you very much, a whole lot, and give you links to the show. And besides, you're an artist. You got to create. So if you got to create for us. Artists just don't know how to not create.
Honestly, when I first saw this, I was thinking of jellyfish in space. That's kind of the feeling I got from it.
Well, I've seen pictures from deep ocean.
Yeah?
I used to have a whole bunch of pictures from deep ocean when I was doing working for a college paper. I got to go interview people on the cable ships, on one of the cable ships that's stationed here. And it's the ship that goes out and repairs the fiber optic cables that run across the Pacific Ocean. Mm-hmm. And they got these photos because the fiber optic cables are down at, 10, 12,000 feet underwater. And so they have to send cameras down to find the cable to fetch it up to the surface. And they get these really cool photos of some really wild creatures down there at the bottom of the ocean.
Neat.
So
it's a really good piece of art. I like it.
So that's what it made me think of. Anyway, so a big thank you out there to Greg. Greatly appreciate it. We also like to acknowledge those that donate their treasure to us. And for anyone who happens to donate $50 or more, they get a note read out and any links they want left in the note. So if you want to donate, hey, please come over to the show, donate to us. Go to wppluginsaToZ.com/donate to donate to the show. Big thank you, though, to those who donate small amounts. We've got a few of you out there that donate, a few bucks each week or each month. And for those, thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. And anything down below always stays anonymous. And we do also like to talk about the folks who donate their time. And we'll talk about the folks who donate their time later because we've got segments of the show that are being run because of the people who donate time. You want to support it? Hey, reach out to us, wppluginsaToZ.com/donate to support the show. All right, it is time for us to dive into what everyone shows up here for. Into the depths of plugin depravity we go. All right, ClassicPress options. We do have a little bit of ClassicPress news this week. First thing here, we have a first release candidate for ClassicPress 1.3. So ClassicPress is getting ready to diverge. If they're heading into 1.3, they've got some changes coming down the line. So you'd have to go read this over and see what they're going to do. I don't know how big it is. I haven't read into it to see what it's all about, but they're looking at, they've done some security fixes. They've got some development improvements and fixes, minor changes, accessibility improvements, and new features, a new filter to allow WP mail to be bypassed. That's cool. Eventually, they're going to have to go through and rewrite all that code and get rid of the WP references.
Eventually.
So once they do that, they've changed massively. Anyway, go check that out. That's a good piece of information. Happy to see that ClassicPress is still moving forward and changing. So one day, it will rival WordPress one day. I really believe that. I bet the long term, almost always the long term, I win. Short term, sometimes not so much. All right, well, let's dive into WordPress plugins. And what do we have this week? The first one I've got for you this week is called Advanced Image Comparison for Elementor. This is a nice one. I know we've covered image comparison plugins before. We might even have covered this one, but I just couldn't remember. And I kind of like it. I'm actually going to start using this at the Tavern's website, the Rogues Tavern website, to start comparison images of what the Oasis looks like now versus what it looked like a year ago or a year and a half ago when it first started. And the nice thing about this one is you can slide it back and forth. It gives you a comparison of images. It's really great for photographers that take photos of the same places all the time to show the differences. Historical photographers in particular, those that take photos of pictures now and then they go into the World Archives and they pull out of that same place and they put them up side by side so they can see how a city changed. Another good use for it is people who do interior design or before and after, like home renovators and other such. This is a really great plugin to put on your website to say, this is what it was, this is what I did. It's really great little plugin for that. This one is free, so it works very well. It's kind of nice. Go check it out. It is Advanced Image Comparison for Elementor, and I give it a 5 Dragon rating.
I can see that being really useful for people who fix photographs too, like take really old damaged photographs and then fix it up.
Yep, there's that too.
So the first one I've got is Dice Roller. I love dice. I have dice that are made out of all kinds of things. Wood and meteor, and I even have one out of amber. I love dice. I was really excited when I saw this and I activated it. What it does is it creates a widget for you. So you just use the widget on one of your posts or pages, and I set it up so it would have 7 six-sided dice that would roll, exploding on maximum roll with a re-roll of dice on minimum roll. Unfortunately, all that happens is it is simply words, which is 7e6 equals 42, 3 explosions. There's no pictures, no actual dice. It's just the words. I was pretty disappointed with this. I was really psyched up to see the dice roll and explode. I mean, to be fair, they didn't exactly say there was actual dice rolling across the screen or anything, but when you see a name like Dice Roller, you kind of think of the rolling dice. So I rate this at 2 dragons.
Oh. Wah, wah, wah. We haven't used that in a long time.
No, we haven't.
That's too bad. All right. Well, might not be one to work up. It's also an old plugin. It's over 5 years old. Who knows? It could be updated and dice could be added to it.
That'd be cool.
All right. Next one I got for you. This one's just a simple little plugin. I was pressed to find some plugins. So I saw this. I thought, sure, why not? Let's bring it out. It's cute animals. It's simple, straightforward. You plug it in, turn it on, go to the settings, choose your animal, rabbits, frogs, birds, cats. You only get to choose one animal though. Then you can choose how fast it moves across your screen, and you can determine whether it moves up and down your screen or across your screen, and it doesn't do it randomly. It does it in a straight line, and you tell it where at. Straightforward. You plug it in, turn it on, shit, hang on. Settings, choose your animal, rabbits, frogs, burp. Bloody other computer kicked on.
Wow.
It was sitting there quiet the whole time. All of a sudden, it decided to get noisy.
Huh. I guess it wanted to be part of the conversation.
It did. It did. At any rate, it's just you end up with it running straight across your screen at whatever position you want it. Other than that, it's not too bad. It's kind of cute. It is free, and it does what it says it'll do. So I gave it a 5 dragon rating.
That could be a lot of fun putting up on a page randomly.
Yeah.
So the next one I have is Avatar Manager. I think this is pretty cool. This plugin adds in options for your customers or users in general to use their own avatar or choose one that was already there for them. So once you activate it, you need to look beneath discussions and then settings, which took me a while to figure that one out, towards the bottom of the page. There you can choose which available avatar is default and whether or not you will allow anyone to upload an avatar. Pretty nifty, easy to use, and well done. The pictures that they have for the auto choices are actually pretty good. They're decent, unlike some that I've seen. And it's totally free. I rate it at 5 dragons.
Cool. Check it out. All right. The final one I got for you. I thought it was going to be more interesting than it is, but it's still kind of useful if you want to go down the path of a third-party provider. It's called Reward Dice. And by Precise Funnels, WooCommerce Exit, Intent Pop-Up with email opt-in form, blah, 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 blah. All right, so what it's for is you got a WooCommerce store and people come to your store, they visit it, they shop around, maybe they add a thing or two to their cart, or even if they don't, they get ready to exit. Well, this one here pops up for them, and they can roll the dice to create a discount code. And it is a 20-sided die. And when people hit the roll the dice, it bounces it around, and it comes up with a discount that they can then choose. They can get the discount code. They just got to enter their email, and it gets emailed to them. I thought, really great idea, something I would kind of like to have. The thing that put me off on it, I got to sign up for a third-party service to do that. Without the third-party service, and I'm like, okay, well, does the third-party service also gain access to my emails? Probably not, but even still, you got to sign up with them, and then they have it set up for it's a free account if you have 5,000 or less visitors a month. Once you get above 5,000 visitors a month, it starts to cost you not a fair chunk, but a bit of money. The more more visits, the more money it costs. Now, I understand it. They got to make a living. They got to earn money off their plugin. But it's not something that I'm going to go down and chase. I thought it would be great. I'm hoping to find something similar to that because I like the idea of gamifying your stuff. And if you got actual active dice that roll across the screen, that kind of gets people a little more interested. And they might hit 2 or 3 times of a roll to see if they can get a higher percentage of discount. And you get to set the discounts that actually show up. So the dice are actually fixed. They're fixed. It's a fixed dice. It's a fixed die too. It's not totally random. So at any rate, go check this one out if you're interested. It's called Reward Dice by Precise Funnels, WooCommerce Exit Intent Pop-Up with email opt-in form, and I give it a 4 dragon rating.
It's a long name.
Yeah, I know.
And the last one I've got is Enable Media Replace. So this seems to be a great plugin if you're working with a limited amount of space on your site. It allows for a more easy replacement of any media file in any post or page. Rather than having to go through and do the whole rigmarole that we're all used to, you can just simply click Upload a New File. And it's right there under where you click to change the image. What this does is it deletes the current media file there and replaces it with whatever you're wanting. You need to make sure it's the same kind of picture though, like for instance, make sure they're both a PNG. You can choose whether or not the file name, date, and links are kept the same, or if they are deleted and replaced with all new. It's a neat addition, I think. That last bit where you can keep it or delete all the information that it comes with. However, if you're using something like Elementor and you try using this, it will take you off your page in order to do this. So as long as you're not using anything like Elementor, this is really good for you. I rate it at 4 dragons.
That could be a little bit of a problem there if it takes you off your page, because if you haven't saved your stuff, it can mess you all up.
Well, it asks you if you want to leave the page to complete this action first.
Yeah,
so
but
it gives you the option to not do it, but it makes it not easy.
I could still see. It's going to ask you, and if you're not really paying attention or you're sort of clicking along, like happens when you're working away, sometimes you just click along, and all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I didn't save that page.
Oh yeah, okay, I could see that being an issue.
It's like I can just see it happening. If it doesn't ask you if you want to save your data before you exit the page, it just says, do you want to exit this page? Well, if you exit the page without saving the data, you could be out whatever work you just did. So
yeah, that would be painful.
So it is very painful when you suddenly lose your work. I've had it happen very recently to me.
Yeah.
So at any rate, all right, well, that covers up everything we've got here. And we do have some listener feedback this week, which is kind of cool. And the listener feedback we've got in this week it came to us from Peter. It says, I'm Peter. Recently, I was digging around searching for the best weather widget for my website. That's how I came upon your page at WP Plugins, blah, 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 at this particular page here. It was good and informative, so I checked the links you shared as well. And unfortunately, I didn't find what I wanted, so I kept my research, and my time has paid off. Here's what I encountered. And he ended up finding the tomorrow.io weather widget, which I've seen this one before, but this here is not a plugin or anything. You just copy a script of code from the Tomorrow weather site and paste the code in there for your thing. So you can put it into a text or an HTML widget or anything along that line, but you're still dependent upon, well, you're always dependent on third-party service. So this one could be a pretty cool use. So thanks a lot, Peter. Greatly appreciate it. And as he says, the easiest to use, clearest weather widget he's seen. And it's customizable. Thought you'd be interested. Check it out. Maybe share the page with your readers, since it's a really great addition to many webmasters. I could save a lot of time if I'd see it among your resources. Thanks a lot. Keep up your work. Regards, Peter. So thanks a lot, Peter. Appreciate you taking the time to write us out. So it might have been a scam email and all that, but on the whole, I
think it's pretty cool.
It was a well-written one.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks a lot. Greatly appreciate it. All right. It is time for us to wander into...
It's a contest. WordPress plugins from A to Z.
Absolutely. Contest time. Our contests are powered by the Simple Giveaways plugin. And thank you to Steve Goodtime and Brant Matthews for that jingle. And Simple Giveaways plugin, really great plugin for giveaways. And this is one point here where we like to thank someone for the time they donate to the show. Thanks again, Charlie, for helping the show out and creating these contests for us, reaching out to the developers and getting us all the licenses to give away. Somebody's got here a short note about participating in the contest. Remember, we go to great efforts to get these licenses and look for more participation from you, the producers. All right, so that's bad producers, bad. Sign up for more contests, producers. You're being bad by not signing up for the contest. Behave yourselves and go sign up. All right. We did have a contest last week where we were giving away the Perf Matters plugin, and we do have a winner. Congratulations to Dale, the winner of the 1-year unlimited license for Perf Matters. So thank you very much for participating in the contest, everyone, last week. Check your email to claim your prize, Dale. All right. This week here, we do have a new contest. We are giving away a license for the Advanced Database Cleaner Pro. Hey, I want that license myself. They got a free version of this thing, I believe.
Oh, nice.
And it doesn't do everything that the Pro can do, unless it's another plugin. But anyway, the Advanced Database Cleaner Pro plugin is one to help you clean up all of the databases in your website, clean up your databases, delete orphan tasks, orphan options, orphan tables. And if you don't know what orphan stuff is if you put in a plugin and it creates some actions or tables, and you decide you don't need that plugin and you delete it, well, not every plugin cleans up after itself. It's kind of like a teenager. It'll go into the kitchen, make lunch, and leave behind the pots and pans for you to clean. Well, that's the same thing that a lot of plugins do. They leave behind tables and other data that just sits there and clogs up your database. And you got to go in and manually remove that stuff. So this could help make that task easier. I seem to recall this plugin being around for a while, and I don't think I've ever looked at the pro version of it. So it's going to be well worthwhile to go enter the contest and check out this plugin here. And where's the link to the plugin? We don't have a link to the plugin here on the site.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Bad editors. Oh, wait a sec. Here we go. No, bad editors, bad editors. We don't have... Yeah, they just want to send out a tweet on it. We don't want to send out a tweet. Bad editors. We don't have a link to the plugin. All right. So we'll make sure those links get added into the show notes, folks, so you can go check out the plugin. Anyway, go check this out. It's a great contest, and it's another great license. It's a starter lifetime license valued at $39. So go check it out and enter the contest at wpplugins.com/contests, or just follow the link in the show notes for the contest itself. Yeah. Oh, wait a sec. No, there it is. All right. We do have a link in here. We do have a link on the contest page to go check it out. All right. And there you go. Go check it out, folks. Really great plugin. Okay. Now we're going to close out a couple of things before we go into the Q&A segment, because, of course, we close it out halfway through that. And covering up in this episode, I covered the following plugins: the Advanced Image Comparison for Elementor, which I gave a 5 to, the Cute Animals, which I gave a 5 to, and the Reward Dice by Precise Funnels, WooCommerce Exit Intent Pop-Up with an Email Opt-in Form, which I gave a 4 to.
And I covered Dice Roller, which I rated at 2, Avatar Manager, which I rated at 5, and Enable Media Replace, which I rated at 4.
All right, a couple of quick reminders. There's no meetups right now. We'll bring those up when they come up again. If you're not getting enough of hearing me and Amber talk, come join us on Tuesday evenings, 8 o'clock, for the Rogues Tavern, shooting the shit at the Rogues Tavern show. theroguestavern.com/live. All right, it is time for us to wander into...
It's question and answer time.
With Amber.
So, I was waiting for you. You didn't say it fast enough.
It was on a delay. I'm on a time delay this morning.
Fair enough. So before I start with my questions, just a quick note: if anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and I will get them into this segment. My first question for you is, what's the difference between reCAPTCHA with Google and other companies? I thought reCAPTCHA was just reCAPTCHA all across the different things.
Well, reCAPTCHA is a term. I don't know when it was coined, somewhere way back in the very beginning of the internet age. And reCAPTCHA is a term that's used by all these companies, and it is the term for that little irritating thing. Once upon a time, it was even worse than it is now. They used to put this irritating little script inside a bunch of lines, and you had to figure out what the letters were, and then type those letters into a box to move forward. And most of the time you had to play the audio file to figure out what the letters were, because it's kind of like, those pictures where you stare at them long enough and you see another picture in the picture. You don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I don't remember what they're called, but you stare at these little weird shapes.
You stare at a picture full of dots, and you're supposed to see a picture inside the dots.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically what reCAPTCHA was before. And then they started coming up with different types of reCAPTCHAs. What is the color of bananas? Answer the question to go forward. What is 1 + 1 or 2 + 2? Nowadays, you couldn't even answer it correctly and get it right, though. So it's like there's all of that stuff there. Well, Google came up with its own reCAPTCHA system, which is, click the box to say I'm not a robot, and every once in a while it pops up all the pictures and it says pick the ones that are the traffic lights. And you look at them and say, well, there's one picture that's a little teeny corner of the traffic light. Does that count? It's like reCAPTCHA's, and what reCAPTCHA's supposed to do, and it does most of the time, is it keeps the robots from filling out your forms, because the robot can't answer the reCAPTCHA question. So reCAPTCHA they're all the same, just different in the fact of how they implement it, because reCAPTCHA is just a generic term as far as I'm concerned. It's a generic term. Okay. It's been around since pretty much the beginning of the internet age. I don't know how far into it. I guess about the time the spammers arrived, which wasn't too far after the internet got started, that reCAPTCHA was created. So to thwart the spammers.
So it's not really better or worse. It's just different.
It's just different. There's so many ways to implement reCAPTCHA. The thing is Google has made it really simple for many people. The problem is the Google reCAPTCHA actually can slow down your site, because it's doing third-party calls to Google to get all the information. So if you can put a reCAPTCHA that actually works locally on your computer or on your website via a plugin or something else, that'll work faster than calling in the Google one. So you could help improve your speed. So there's really no difference in them.
Okay. Hemdian has something to say. He said, got a little problem. I wondered if you might have any tips. I noticed recently when I post a link on my website to my website on Twitter, the image is no longer appearing. Unfortunately, I've made quite a few changes behind the scenes, so I'm not sure what the problem is. I did find the card validator page on Twitter, and it returns error fetching page failed because it's denied by robots text. So I changed robots text to be only user agent, allow / flushed all caches, including Cloudflare, but I still get the same error. If it's not the robots text, what could it be?
I don't know. I haven't seen that problem in a long time, and I don't remember what it was. There was a plugin. If you're using Yoast SEO, Yoast SEO has a setting in it for Twitter card. You may have to go dig in your page source code to see what is being allowed for Twitter, because that's a header tag, or I think it's a header tag that gets tossed into the header to tell it which card to pull for Twitter, either pull the large card or the small card. And that's where I would dig next. But without spending time digging into it, I just don't know at the moment. But those are the places I can think of as a plugin causing it to not be able to pull it. And there are a couple of different plugins that try to kick out a Twitter card. I know Yoast is one that comes to mind first. And if you've got any other SEO or speed plugins, sometimes they also do a Twitter card too. So I would search through your plugins to see how many of them are pulling up Twitter cards or kicking out the information for a Twitter card. So that's where I would check.
Makes sense.
All right.
I've got 2 more questions.
Okay, read out these 2 questions. Since we just got a second question, we'll read out these 2 and we'll close out here and come back to them.
If 2 plugins appear to do the same thing, is there a way to tell which one is better, or do you just need to try them both and see which one works better for you? And when a plugin gets older or sold off to another company, it can change or simply stop working the way it was meant to. Are there signs you can keep an eye out for so that you know when to simply delete or replace and move on from that particular plugin?
All right. Well, there's the questions, folks. I'm going to let my girl take us on out of here. And for those on YouTube, we'll be back to answer those questions and a follow-up to the one that Hemdian just asked. All right. So let's wander on out.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty, well, let's follow up first with the one Hemdian has here. He's got, I have Yoast, but have not changed the Twitter settings lately. Well, you might not have to change the Twitter settings with Yoast. Yoast, like everyone else, changes things for you. And also a thought occurred to me is you may have, you make sure you're using, you said you have a robot text file, make sure you don't have a plugin or something kicking a virtual robot text file also. That can happen. You know, once upon a time, a virtual robot text file plugin was very popular. I used to have one, and I liked it until it started acting up. But I don't know. It's kind of a tough one. It's one where you just got to look through the plugins and see what else might have something to go in it. Without knowing all the plugins you have there, I really couldn't guess. But at any rate, I'm betting that it's a plugin or a plugin impacting it if it's still a problem after you cleaned up your robot text file. Other thing you can do is just try dropping the robot text file completely. You know, leave it off for a little while, then run your tests and see if it works without the robot text file. That might help too. All right, on to the last two questions here. First one, if two plugins appear to do the same thing, is there a way to tell which one is better, or do you just need to try them both and see which one works better for you? Well, you have to try them both. If they appear to do the same thing, there's no real way to know which one's going to be better for you, because one developer might have a brain that works closer to yours, and you might understand the way he's got the admin set up, and the other one might have his brain doing circles around itself and have multiple ways to set it up and be confusing. I've seen lots of plugins that do the same thing, and one developer was much better at organizing the admin window than the other one. So you just got to try them out and see which one works best and works easiest for you. So basically it's install and test, install and test. Basically this is where you end up with multiple domains of things, and you just install them on different domains and you keep checking them back and forth until you go, okay, this one seems to work better. It's really not a good idea. Okay. I've already done this. You know, it's not a good idea to keep installing and uninstalling plugins on your main live domain.
Yeah,
makes a mess.
Having a sandbox is a good idea.
Okay, another one. Does Twitter cache? How long should I wait? Well, I don't know if Twitter caches. I think they do. So, how long you should wait? You could wait a day or two. Much beyond that, it shouldn't be. Any caches they had should have cleared. I don't know. You'd have to do some research to see if Twitter caches. So I don't know. All right. Last question we got here for you is: when a plugin gets older or is sold off to another company, it can change or simply stop working the way it was meant to work. Are there signs you can keep out for so that you know when to simply delete or replace or move on from that particular plugin? Okay, well, you're right. Plugins get older. They quit doing what they're supposed to do because they're no longer compatible with the latest updates to WordPress. Sold off to another company. We've seen several examples of that in the last year where the new company buys it and adds a whole bunch of crap to it that it's not supposed to do and impedes its whole function to begin with. And then the developer comes out of retirement and creates a new one.
Yeah, I found that one entertaining.
That one was neat. That was kind of cool. That developer came out of retirement to create a new one because he was like, "Damn, I sold this off. They screwed it up, and well, I create another one for all the people out there to have something useful." There's signs you keep out. There's the only signs you know is like you've had function that worked really well. You updated it. Hopefully, you've made a backup so that when you update it and it doesn't work, you can just revert back to the last one that worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's no simple signs that say you see, you know, like rolling down a hill, you get faster and faster. It's like more like it's like being dropped out of a plane and all of a sudden it's smacking on the ground. You know, there's no signs because unless you're paying attention to every single plugin on your site, which nobody, well, I shouldn't say nobody, there's some probably ultra people who do that, but let's say the vast majority of us do not pay attention to every single plugin on our site, and we don't always read all the updates before we update the plugin. And that's one thing you could do is if you're really concerned is before you update a plugin, go read the changelog and see what's changing in it. You know, and that's hoping that the developers put all the changes into the changelog, because I've updated plugins and I've read the changelog and it doesn't do it. It's like, I think there's nothing in the changelog about this. So there's no guarantees. It's basically, there's no way to know until it basically happens to you.
Okay.
So other than that,
that's still a very good thing to know though.
Yep. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I think we've wrapped it all up today. Pretty decent show, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. I think we'll call it quits here. We'll pile on out of here with a little Days of Thunder to take us away. Off we go.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.